It is indeed a pleasure and honor to have my friend, guide, and mentor joining us live from his home in San Diego, Dr. Deepak Chopra. Hi, Deepak. How are you? Good morning.
Thank you. Thank you, Punacha. Thank you, Gabriella. Thank you, Cassie. Thank you, John Brick Foundation, Mental Health Foundation. Thank you for partnering with Chopra Foundation. Thank you, everyone who's here. I'm especially honored and privileged and grateful to be launching the Never Alone Summit with your help and with your leadership, Nacha, Gabriella, and Cassie. So thank you.
Thank you, Deepak.
I would like to start with a personal story. So here it is. I was 6 years of age in Mumbai, then called Bombay. And my parents were in England, and I was staying with my grandparents. One day we got a telegram, and the telegram said that my father had just passed all his exams and was now a member of the Royal College of Physicians. My grandfather was so thrilled. He took me and my little brother, who was then 4 years of age, later became the Dean for Medical Education at Harvard Medical School, but he was 4. Grandfather took us to see the movies, Ali Baba and 40 Thieves, a carnival, a great dinner at a fancy restaurant. And we came back home, and then in the middle of the night, he died. The next day, he was taken to cremation. His ashes were brought back in a jar about this big, and one of my uncles said, "What is life? What is this thing that we call life?" Yesterday, he was celebrating with the children, and today he's a bunch of ashes in a jar. 6 years old, I had my first existential crisis, deep suffering, and also fear of the mystery of death. My little brother started losing his skin. It started to shed. We took him to all the doctors he could. Nobody could diagnose him till one healer said he's feeling vulnerable. He's feeling alone, even though he's with his brother and his grandparents and his uncles. If his parents come back, he'll be healed. And sure enough, that's what happened. So that set off my journey to understand the mystery of death and also the mystery of existence through medical school, residency, fellowship. And it was much later that I started delving into not only the mind-body relationship, I realized they're exactly the same, just as wave, particle, mass, energy, time, space are the same entity. Mind, body are the same entity, and they are actually the manifestations of our spirit. That's what they are. And it took me a long time, actually, to get into why do we suffer? Why do people get depressed? It took us 14 billion years as beings, literally, since the beginning of time, 14 billion years to have the experience we're having right now. This moment took 14 billion years to manifest. It's the most precious moment you can have, and it's always there. It's called be here now. And when you're here now, you're never alone, because you find out that your true self is inseparable from all that exists. All that has ever existed, all that exists now, all that will ever exist in the future, your true self. And despite that, we have existential suffering, which is so enormous right now in the world that the entire world is actually suffering, at this moment anyway, with existential anxiety and the fear of the unknown, the fear of the unpredictable, the fear of uncertainty, which is the only reality at all times anyway. If everything was certain, there would be no creative evolution. There would be nothing to do. It is the proliferation of unpredictability and uncertainty that leads to the creative impulse. for all of us to find meaning and purpose in our existence. So who are we? We are the entire universe looking at itself right now through the human nervous system. What do we really want? We want to be never alone, because that's our true reality. What's our calling? What's our higher purpose right this moment? To heal ourselves and heal the world. Remember, the word healing is the same as the word holy. Holy, holiness, wholeness. Healing is the return of the memory of who we are, which is not the separate self. That's our purpose. What are we grateful for? That we exist, that we have the awareness that we exist, and that we also have the awareness that we're never alone. If we can pay attention just to these 4 questions and look for the deeper meaning and significance, then we will certainly be holy and we'll certainly be healed. So today, let us make a commitment, all of us, that we're there for each other. There's a pandemic going on. It's the pandemic of COVID-19, but there's also a pandemic going on of depression, anxiety, existential suffering, inflammation, both chronic and acute, which is leading to a lot of morbidity and mortality. But the biggest pandemic right now is this. And at the bottom of it, it is existential anxiety. It is fear. And it is absence of the true meaning of love. Because love is not just a mere sentiment, not just a mere emotion, even though the emotion and sentiments of love are glorious. Love is the ultimate truth at the heart of creation, which is there is no such thing as a separate self. The separate self is a socially induced hallucination. And when we go beyond the separate self, we find ourselves never alone. We find ourselves inseparable from all sentient beings. We are sentient beings entangled in a web of relationship that starts with empathy, feeling what the other feels, moves to compassion, the desire to alleviate suffering, which leads to love in action. And love in action means never being alone. Pay attention, listen deeply to what is happening around us, to those who are suffering. Express your affection and caring and love and compassion verbally, but also in action. Accept everyone as they are, where they are, because that's where they are. Attention, deep listening, appreciation, noticing the gift that people bring into our lives, affection, deep caring, and that's all we need to do. Attention, affection, appreciation, acceptance, and we start to heal ourselves. We also start to ask for help, to express our vulnerability, to share our vulnerability, to give help, whether it's financial resources, whether it's services, whether it's advice, whether it's emotional support, whether it's just simply telling somebody, I'm there for you, you're never alone. And if we do this, we will replace the current pandemics that we are facing. The pandemic of extreme anxiety, stress, which is compromising the immune system and causing inflammation that ultimately manifests as disease in our bodies, as violence in our social structures, as economic downfall and economic injustice and social injustice, even as climate change and war and terrorism. These are the symptoms of feeling alone. But if we are connected in the spirit of empathy, compassion, love, caring, affection, tenderness, and joy, and never alone feeling, then we can be all holy and we can all be healed. This is our task now. And what we are seeing is emergence. Social scientists who look at emergence say that when you have an open system, complete transparency, when you have maximum diversity of ability, talent, humanitarians, social scientists, other scientists, biologists, physicists, visionaries, poets, singers, musicians, artists. When you have maximum diversity, open system, feedback, transparency, shared vision, emotional and spiritual bonding, then emergence happens. What happens is something emerges. The whole biosphere repairs itself and moves in the direction of peace, of loving kindness, of joy, of equanimity, of empathy, of compassion, of the desire to alleviate suffering, and ultimately love in action. This is the mantra of Never Alone, the summit and the movement. The mantra, love in action, maximum diversity, shared vision, emotional and spiritual bonding, and complementing our strengths, and we will move in the direction of at least 1 billion people, critical mass, that will actualize the dream of a more peaceful, just, sustainable, healthier, and joyful world. That's our dream. In the way Martin Luther King Jr. said, I have a dream. And what happened? It triggered the civil rights movement and still struggling to manifest social and economic justice. But that dream is being actualized right now because it's not a personal dream. It's our collective dream. And nothing can stop us. We are now invincible because we are gathered today here in the spirit of love. And that's all there is. Love is the ultimate truth at the heart of creation. Be in love and commit today firmly to be never alone. God bless. Stay tuned and help us accelerate this movement. Thank you, Gabriella. Thank you, Punalcha.
Thank you, Deepak.
Thank you,
Thank
Deepak.
you.
Great to
Thank
see
Lots of love.
you. Love in
So
action.
grateful to be part of this.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for being here and
Joy
thanks for all your
and
support.
healing.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Wonderful.